Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Paddle Pursuit. I'm your host, Robert Norman, and today I am here with Florida's V1 pioneer, Andre Souza. He is responsible for the recent Black Belt Challenge, and we have timed this podcast to reflect on that and think about how that race went, talk about it in the future. Andre is a Miami paddler, one of the nicest guys in Florida racing right now, and want to take this time to showcase Andre here on the podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and doing the interview with us.
Hey, it's a pleasure to meet to be here. Uh, First of all, before starting, I just want to tell you that I'm a big fan what you're doing, your work, what you do here for the community in general. Like you're like a kind of a Superman, stand-up paddleboarding, V1, OC1, Dragon Boat. So I'm following you for a long time. Just want to tell you that I know that we're doing this podcast to talk about myself, but I couldn't start this not showing case how much I appreciate. I think you know that I already told you many times, but I like to put people that is doing a lot of from the sports because that's like was one of my philosophies about being a black belt that I'm going to tell you. It's give it back for the community, and I see that you give a lot for the community, and I appreciate for that.
Thank you.
But yeah, yeah, I'm
I
telling
really
you, like,
appreciate that.
yeah, well, I told you this many times, and I'm a big fan of you. My name is Andre Souza, as you said. Like, I told you, like, as you can see from my accent, English is not my first language. I'm from Brazil. I'm a citizen. I'm American citizen right now too, but I'm originally from Brazil. I moved here like about 9, 10 years ago. And but I started paddling in Brazil back in the day. And now I'm here, passionate by the Polynesian culture and try to spread the V1 more than ever in US.
Tell us about paddling in Brazil because I follow, like you mentioned, I follow a bunch of sports. So in sprint canoe and sprint kayak, Brazil has been a very strong country in the past. But recently in the outrigger canoe world and more into the ocean race scene, Brazil has really jumped on the scene. But tell us about your history and kind of the landscape of paddling in Brazil specifically.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Brazil is growing like in a pace. I I even risk to say that is the biggest growing community, paddling community now in the world. Like Brazil is the biggest community. If you see all the big names from the sport are going there because they see that how passionate from the sport they are. But I started back in the days in Brazil, water sports in mid 90s, around like 94, 95. And actually I was a kayaker. I started kayaking. We didn't have like any OCs over there back in the days. We didn't even know what was a six-man canoe. And I was doing those oceanic kayaks that you have to put the skirt and everything. So that's what I was doing. But I saw the first canoe, the six-man canoe arriving in Brazil. So this guy, this good friend of mine, his name is Fabio Paiva, in partnership with another guy from Rio de Janeiro. His name is Ronald Zander Williams. They were the pioneers. They bought a canoe. Actually, Ronald bought a canoe in California called Lanaquila and took this canoe to Brazil. And I saw the canoe arriving because I live in Santos, that is the biggest port in South America, and I saw the canoe arriving in my city, and they put in a stand with like a TV showing the video from Molokai. I say, man, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. So I start paddling the six man after that over there. We start producing the canoes in Brazil. I participate of the baptism of the first six men in Brazil, and the first race that we did, that happened in Brazil back. This was like 1999, 2000. And later on, I moved to Florida and I found a club here and started paddling here. But Brazil is it's a community that when I came back to Brazil, I stayed away from Brazil for like a good 7 years, and when I came back, I was like my mouth was open the whole time. Like, man, so many canoes. My city is a small city, and I space from like of like a mile, you see like a 30, 35, 40, or 6 men like sitting on the streets, you know, like waiting to people to paddle, people paddling. They take serious, they take like as going to a gym, you know. They pay membership, like monthly membership that is not cheap in Brazil, but they love the sport. They love like the paddling, like a water sports, right? I think also like I still have my ideas why it's not growing, is in slow pace, especially here in Florida. But we can go through that later. And Brazil now, the V1 is big in Brazil. The V1 is big. They love a lot the Tahitians, right? And they understand that the V1 kinds of, I know that people, it's like a controversy, but like people tries to teach you more like how to read the ocean and the water. So they spend a lot of times in V1, and they're having like a good results now. They got like have good results in London sprints. Last year I think they did good too. And some friends of mine, they told me like there's more than 200 paddlers going to Hawaii this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, the Brazil. So when I first realized it, like, so I watch all these sports at the highest levels. Brazil, right? Sprint canoe, ocean racing. The last one is Samoa. Brazil. I think they place top three or
Yeah.
top five, and even for me on the online school, right? One of my largest demographics is Brazil, right? People ask me
Yeah.
all the time, "Hey, can you translate this into Portuguese and Spanish?" And it's like, we can try, but the outreach of them joining in that community is tremendous. And they're all like new school, right? They haven't been doing it a long time.
Yes.
They're brand new, right? So when they learn these ideas, they get all of these nice 2024 ideas and they instantly go fast, right? And you see that at the world level where these guys, they just pop up out of nowhere and they're competing with some of these racers that have been in the community for 20 years, right? And I think that's really an amazing testament to the community that's growing down there and its ability to produce, passionate racers.
Yeah, they just don't go to the water just to go. You know, they go like as you said, they dig and they learn when, okay, that's the information. It's Robert. Okay, let's get from him. Let's do it. They go to the water every day and they do it. They go. If you tell them to put like I make fun like some friends if you go there and you're a Tahitian, you say, hey, you go there and you have to paddle like this. They're gonna do this and they're gonna paddle like that, bro. They're gonna, they are like I'm not like I'm not making fun of my people, but they're like a dedicated, they train a lot, they spend a lot of time in the water, and there's no secret in any sports that we do. It's just dedication and how much time you spend doing the thing that you do that you love, right?
So looking at that landscape and then like you mentioned coming to Florida paddling. So give us some of your perspectives on being here in the US, Florida, looking at the landscape of paddling and some of the contrasts and opinions that you have of Florida racing.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question because when I came here, I say, man, why we don't have people in the water? I see Florida honestly as a sleep giant, a sleep giant,
Hmm.
because it's definitely one of the best and nicest place in the world. I'm not joking. Like in the one of the best places in the world to paddle. You have all the conditions. You have beautiful water. The location is amazing, and you have hot water the whole year. It's not like paddling in California that it's freaking cold sometimes of the year. Like, man, you really has to love the sport to be there.
Mhm.
I think I still try to. I have some opinions, some like ideas that why this is not happening yet, and hopefully it's growing right now because you see amazing paddlers here, like you were one of them definitely, and you have like a big names or stand up paddle, surf ski, OC1s. You have good names here, but you don't have the amount of people still in the water competing and dedicating, spending time to grow. And then what happens is you start winning one race here, one race over there, and you get comfortable with that. And also you don't evolve, as an athlete if you want to compete, and then you get out of here and you go You don't even need to leave US. You go to the West Coast, and man, you have to die to be top 30 in a race. Like say, wait a second, I'm always winning over there. Now I'm here, like struggling to finish top 30 in a race. So I think also the culture, the water culture, as I see there, right? I don't know all the places in Florida, but I'm talking about Miami specifically. That is a very touristy city. Uh, I don't see people enjoying the beach, right? Like a people who goes to the beach because they love to be at the beach. They go to the beach to get tan or something, but it's not like that. Like surfing culture, right? Hawaii is a very strong surfing culture. The West Coast is like that. People who like to like to be at the water, like to stay at the beach, and eventually they're gonna jump in a canoe or in a paddleboard or on a surfboard, and they're gonna be good at that because they're gonna be spending time. I think here in Miami specifically, it's more like a tourist. People go to the beach just to get tan, so it's kind of hard, a little bit hard to bring people to spend some time or try the canoe, right? Our sport it's something like people see that amazing canoe, say, man, that's super expensive. That's like a sport for millionaires or whatever. No, I'm not going to do that. That's too crazy. That's too crazy. And they don't even try. They don't even try. Like I had an example today. Today I went to the waters with someone that I'm trying to convince them like for a year to paddle. That is my jiu-jitsu coach. And finally, he went today with another guy from the jiu-jitsu gym. And the feedback was amazing. Say, man, you're trying to convince me to come here for a year and I never came. And I regret so bad that now finally, man, you go to the water, you see that peace, right? So I think the life in general in US is very fast. It's a fast pace compared to other countries from where I came from, that you have more that enjoy life. Uh, Sometimes you don't make a lot of money, but you enjoy life different, right? I think the life here is a fast pace, so it's difficult to bring to attract people to go to the water. I think the way to go would be like kids, like a school. So that's what I try to do. Something that I try to do here. I would love to start bringing kids to the water to teach the water life, to enjoy to be at the water. It's nice. It's good. It's good for your body. You have like a sun exposure. You're gonna be stepping on sand and on the grass. That energy. I don't see people doing this. I'm trying to change a little bit, like you here, like this mentality. It's growing. It's growing. I think now it's growing. It's getting better. It's getting better. It has a long way to go. Yes, we still to become like equal to West Coast, but we're growing. We're growing little by little, and the intent also of doing those races here and bringing people like big names from the sport is that to motivate people here. So you don't leave. You don't need to leave. It's hard to convince someone to join the sport. Imagine to convince someone to, hey, let's go to Tahiti. You're gonna, I'm gonna introduce you to Stevie Boy. You're gonna race against him.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea also with the race, to bring people here so we can level up the sport in general. And when I say the sport, it's not the V1 only. When I say VA, I say VA in general, like a water sport, like a boat, a canoe, or a surf ski. Like I had two Tahitians that they came here, big names on V1. Say, hey, I want to race surf ski. I say, buddy,
Yeah.
don't think you're gonna come to Florida like they're gonna beat like surf ski guys. It's another level. It's a high level here. No, but no, I want to enjoy surf ski because I like they do a lot of surf ski also over there in French Polynesia. They do a lot of cross training, V1 and surf ski. So it's like grow the sport in general, or water sports in general, right?
Yeah, the tapping into surf culture, that's a great observation, where it's very easy from going from a surfboard onto some other vessel in the ocean. I feel like the fear of the ocean is probably one of the biggest things that limits people from, even if they intercoastal paddle, they won't
Yes.
venture into the ocean. Now you have a barrier of two different
Yes.
groups, and so having that built in, and then kids, right? Getting them in and having it be low access, all they have to do is participate. And then if they enjoy it, right, then you can, kind of establish that for the rest of their lives. With adults, like you said, American culture is definitely you pick your profession. And if you want to be successful at it, you make a lot of sacrifice. And one of those is
Yes.
spare time. Like I don't have an hour to go out on my, paddle vessel and hone the skill because I got a meeting and I got to make a phone call and I got to do these emails and I got to eat and I got to sleep, right? And so a lot of young professionals in the US, Florida in particular as well, get really caught up in that and they forego a lot of their life until later on, right? So, and that's where our sport's at, where people at 50, 60, 70, they now have the time to actually do these things versus when they were 20, 30, 40, they didn't
Yes,
allocate
exactly.
any of that time, right? And you're right, it's a big culture shift trying to get people out of that or, if you can't get them out of it, find people that do have that time allocated in.
You just nail what I'm trying to explain. It's exactly that. It's difficult, especially nowadays. Like I grew up at the beach. I grew up like swimming and going to the beach, and my hanging out time, I go to the beach and meet my friends over there. So we have nothing to do. We just stay there at the beach, looking at people, looking at the girls, and that's it. That was like what we do. And it's what a lot of those Iceland coaches do. They do a lot of this. So you're already there. You're already there at the beach. Why not just jump in a canoe? It's easier. It's easier to attract. You just nail your explanation. It's perfect.
So, talking about races and bringing over high level racers to keep everybody in check. Recently at the Suncoast Challenge, we had Benjamin Beck from Texas, who I hope to have on the show, and came over, kicked my butt, kicked everybody's butt, right? And people ask me, they're like, "Man, like, how do you feel about like getting second place or not winning, right?" And I'm like, I love it because it reminds everybody that there's another level. Like, there's no day when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh man, I'm really good. I know that there are people out there that are super talented, super good, and put in that commitment, but we don't have the opportunity to showcase them that frequently because Florida is kind of out of the way, even for Texas. That's a long drive, that's a flight over. And then, like you said, California, and then especially Polynesia, Hawaii, the other parts of the world. So getting these athletes over here, it's a lot of people get demoralized by it, but it's not the way to look at it. It shows you what the potential is. If I get good, if I keep training, if I do all these things, the speed potential is through the roof. So tell us about watching some of these racers coming over to race, and what do you see as a little bit different about what they're doing and how they're doing it as you've trained with them and interacted with them?
Look, another thing that you just said, and it's perfect. I tell this to everyone. Even today, I just mentioned that again, and then one lady, her name is Jacqueline, she did the race last week. She said, "Man, you told me this before," and yes, that's totally true. This mentality, like it's a comfort zone mentality, right? When you okay, I'm winning here, so I don't want no one to show up. But I usually tell them because I come from a background that is a jiu-jitsu background, right? That is a completely has some similarities, but it's a sport that yes, you hang out with your friends over there, but has someone in the other side that want to break your arm, right? It's a different background. So this mentality, it's something that for me in my mind doesn't exist, right? And I try to tell these people, look, I don't want to go to a race and get first place and someone, hey, did you race last week? Do someone come to visit, hey, you do paddling, right? Did you race last week? Or did you play basketball? Let's take away from paddling, right? Basketball. Hey, Andre, you start playing basketball. Yeah, man, I'm good. I started playing basketball. I'm super good. I just won a tournament last week. And oh yeah, yeah. Who did you beat? My neighbor was in my neighborhood. My neighbor. I prefer to be in the same competition and be smashed by LeBron James, and he put me 90 points, or I prefer to be there, people say 2 years ago or last year, hey, why are you going to California? This because 2021, 22, I had a good year here paddling. I was a little bit more fit and I had a good year. And hey, then I want to go to California the other day. in the beginning of the year, I asked people, hey, why are you gonna go there? You good here? I said, no, I want to go there. I want to see Deniching. I want to be in the water with those guys. I know that they're gonna destroy me, but I just want to share the water with them. Like I think time like this man in the future, you're gonna feel proud to be like, hey, I was sharing the water. I was in the same race that Stevie Boy was racing. I was in the same race with Kevin CJ. I took last place, but I was there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter, it's just enjoying sharing the water. Like, man, I'm like we don't make money with these sports. It's just for fun, right? It's still a super amateur sport. Yes, the whole intent in the future, even with the live streams that I do, it's to grow a sport in a level that you see these people that train like 4 or 5 in the morning, spending a lot of time, at least to live, have a decent life with the sport. That's the whole goal in the future. But now we don't make any money. So why you don't want to enjoy your time with the champions, with the big names of the sport, And like I say, man, yes, I was there. It motivates you to get better, right? Motivates you to get better. Ben was here. Ben, he came to the black belt paddle race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
He got second.
Mm-hmm.
He got second. Yeah, he did really good. Had a Tahitian that jumped in a OC1 last minute. And yeah, he got second. He did a really good race. And yesterday he did Molokai solo. I also said it was insane, the water over there, like dropping bumps in 20 miles an hour. It was like was epic. You see like a squirt boats capsizing. But yeah, the mentality of people for those races, you should be in the water sharing the water with people who is gonna bring knowledge for you, or motivation. Take that as a motivation, right? Take that as a motivation. And I lost the second part of your question. I'm sorry.
So looking at some of those elite high-level paddlers, what are the things that help differentiate them between like normal paddler or even just between the US and Tahiti? What's the big difference between their top-end racers?
Look, has no secret, Robert. No secret. They don't have 4 lungs. They don't have 4 arms. It's just time in the water, dedication. That's it. Just time in the water and dedication. Those guys are paddling for a long time. For a long time, they're doing a lot of paddling, man. A lot of paddling for a long. They're holding that paddle for a long, long time. So that's it. Doesn't mean that you can start paddling now and put a lot of time in the water and in 2 years be smashing everyone. Why this is impossible? It's not impossible. Everyone talks about, the Tahitians these, the Tahitians that, the Tahitians are good because they are this, they're, man, people forget about Deniching, forget about people from USA here. Like, and they don't consider themselves more than other. If you talk to that people, not, and when I say Polynesians in general, like all islanders, right? Like people from New Zealand, from Hawaii, they don't consider themselves like, oh, we are the gods, we are this. No, they're very simple, humble people. And if you ask them, hey, what's the secret? How you hold the paddle like this? No, I just spend time on the water. I just paddle. I just paddle every day, buddy. I go there. You sleeping, and I'm paddling. Danny Chin is an example, man. The guy, 40 years old. The guy's not Tahitian. The guy's not Hawaiian. The guy's, he spent a lot of time in the water. He won Molokai at 40 years old. And what are you going to say about the guy that like he was born with 4 lungs? No. For how long Danny Chin is in the road paddling? And he didn't stop. He still continues evolving. If you have the pleasure to talk to him, he's a complete Danny Chin. It's exactly like Robert Norman in Florida. He's exactly like you. It's a guy, open mind guy, that yes, you get the basic principles from paddling, but our sport, it's cultural. As a culture, yes, all the Polynesian islands were colonized by canoes, yes, but as a competition sport, like a high level competition sport, it's a baby. It's brand new. It doesn't have like a 20 years. So doesn't have like a book of rules, for that. They're still being made. Those rules are still being made. Man, doesn't like stop a guy, a young boy from 3 years from now, be paddling with this in the head, is smashing everyone. And we're going to say that that's the fastest way. So for me, the pedaling, when I see Danny Chin, I'm a big fan of that guy, and I'm a big fan of you. I'm not joking, because I like open-minded people, people who think out of the box, and you guys are a good example of that. Not only focus, oh, okay, that guy is doing that. Yeah, that guy is doing that type of stroke or whatever. Okay, let's see if it works. Maybe it doesn't work for my mechanic, for my body. Doesn't have a book of rules for me yet. For my simple opinion, doesn't have a book of rules. Is still being made. Yes, you have principles and dynamic on how to pedal that if you see all your videos, that's what you talk about, those principles of pedaling that you have to adapt for your body, that you have to adapt for yourself. And so the answer for this question about what the difference is, basically time on the water. They don't have any coaches. They have coaches for when they have like a team. They enjoy Shell or a big team, that has a coach for that team. They have some guys that their father is coaching him and this, but yes, they get tips from one guy, they follow another guy, and they just spend time on the water. I like to say, especially the V1, right? We're talking like a V1, the OC1. It's about that. Yes, you can focus more and apply more a perfect technique. It's a boat that allows you that because it has a rudder to control. But the V1, specifically the V1, you're never going to pedal a V1 like the same way that you pedal a OC1. Never. Unless you're in flat water and someone is holding the front of the canoe and the tail for you. But other than that, you're not going to have that perfect stroke all the time. Sometimes you're going to be short in the front. Sometimes you're going to be in the back. Sometimes you're going to just, tap the water. Sometimes you're going to splash water. When people say, oh, no, you shouldn't splash the water. Yeah, go there. Go see a video from Shell or any other race. They're splashing water everywhere. Splashing water everywhere. So it's more those people, they grow learning and spending time on the water. You go to see the Aito race, right? It's a big deal over there to be top 100 of the Aito. If you were a top 100, you were fast, super fast guy to finish top 100 of the Aito. You see top of 100 of the Aito, they all pedal different one from the other, but with the same principle. But a little bit different one from the other, but with the same basic principle and technique. So it's just time in the water and let the canoe teach you. The V1 specifically is a canoe that teaches a lot. She's going to require, I usually make this joke, she's going to require a different stroke. She's going to tell you that. And you're not going to turn that canoe easily, right? So requires more work, more time to learn. And that's my struggle also here to teach V1 for people, because people are so used to the pedals that the first thing that they want to do is compare, right? You cannot compare a V1. You cannot compare watercrafts, right? You cannot compare a surf ski with a OC1. No, yes, you cannot. You're going to use your lats in both of them. The principles are the same. But when I say compare the watercraft, the behavior of the watercraft, or you're going to get frustrated. Say, man, I'm going to sell my V1, or I'm going to sell my surf ski because I only keep falling. Hey, learn your balance. Learn to balance yourself. Understand the watercraft and spend time and be patient. Don't get annoyed. Don't get annoyed. When you feel the love from the sport, you don't get annoyed, right? And then you dedicate more time in your watercraft, right? I see yourself I love to teach people who comes from a stand-up paddleboard. You have a background in stand-up paddleboard. For me, I'm terrible in standard. For me, it's the most difficult because I didn't came from this background. I'm trying to learn now. But honestly, if I'm going to tell someone to say, hey, start a watercraft, I would say no blink of eyes. Stand-up paddleboard, start first. If you paddle a standard paddleboard, it's going to be easy for you to paddle a V1. It's easier because you don't look for pedals. You know how to turn. You know the turn. You're going to be way more patient. And you're going to feel more comfortable because I'm going to be sitting down. And when you jump in a OC1, you're going to smile. Say, man, that's it. I have pedals now to control, and then you can enjoy. I enjoy all the. I have OC1s. I have a OC2. I have like V1. Surf ski, I'm still dedicating time. I started a kayak, but it was more stable kayak. I'm paddling sometimes here like a V9 or V8, V9, and I feel very, very stable, very nice. So it's something that I want to spend more time now, especially on the second part of the year. Definitely, I want to master the surf ski. I think it's really, really important. Give you like a lot of balance. But yes, they are not different from us. They are not different from anyone. They're just spending more time.
Yeah, I appreciate the comparison to Danny Ching because he's a good example of when you're in the sport for like 25 years and you've been relevant the entire time, you have to evolve, right? You mentioned LeBron James, he's evolved. Like you have like the game changes. Like if he played the same way he did 20 years ago when he started in the league, everything would have left him behind, right? And I always like to refer to like the K2N online school as being part of the new school, right? Like there are new ideologies and 10 years from now, if they're the same, I have failed my job. Like something is going to change and it's going to evolve and things are going to get a little different as time goes on. And it can't be understated that the moment you get set in your ways on an idea, that's it, right? It's always going to change a little bit as time goes on. Like that's just, science, right? And so I really appreciate, the shout out. Looking at some of the comparisons to the V1, again, US paddlers are very much like this. Like I do A and B and C, and I do it exactly this way. And Dragon Boat, OC6, OC1, all you do is take a forward stroke, right? You only have to master one forward stroke. No steering, no nothing, forward stroke. So, like you said, when they get into a V1, oh my God, you got to paddle like an octopus. You grab it 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. And why am I taking a stroke out here at 3 o'clock? I've never done that before. And finding this connection and this feel with the water, it's not easy because people don't have a feel for the water. They just know A, B, and C, and they just hope that leads them somewhere, right? Instead of feeling all these different ideas. So, tell me a bit about V1 paddling from your perspective, and then let the audience know about your role with Ari and the canoes that are in Miami, and kind of walk us through some of the V1 growing in Florida.
Well, V1, as you said, like I fell in love with the V1. They paddle a lot of V1 in Brazil, and the learning curve. I cannot lie, right? Everyone that tries is gonna see it's a bigger learning curve, especially if you come from OC1 or like 6 men that you're not steering, you're just spending time over there and putting power, right? But rudder canoes with rudder, you're gonna be looking for the pedal. That's the struggle in the beginning because people are used to that. So they're gonna turn and the canoe doesn't turn and say, "Oh, where's my pedal? Why?" So that's the big deal with learning with V1. Yeah? When you start mastering the V1, that takes a little bit time, takes dedication, time. I had guys that mastered the V1 in 1, 2 months, and I had guys that in one class, the guy went to the water by himself. He did like a zigzag, say, "Hey, you're already good. It's okay. Let's go outside." He jumping bumps, little bumps, and he was paddling little bumps. But a guy that never paddled OC1, he was just paddling stand-up paddleboard before. So he never looked at. So I didn't need to teach him like that. You have to put angles, and each angle that you put is gonna affect how you're gonna steer the boat. And not only that, how the water is hitting your boat on the wind is gonna affect also your control. And you're not gonna be counting 10, 10, 10, and 10, 10, 10. This doesn't exist. Sometimes you're gonna be like 500 in one side and half in the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joke, but like of course has ways to fix that and jump to the other side. But in the beginning, it's gonna be that you're not gonna be counting. That doesn't have like counting or nothing. And the whole thing in V1 that if you go anywhere in the world, not only French Polynesia or Hawaii, especially those countries that like spend a lot of time, you already mastered. Hey, what should I do? How I learn V1? How I do this? This is always the same answer. Always the same answer. Feeling. Oh, it's feeling, 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 feeling in the same. My Jesus, how I'm gonna teach feeling to someone, right? How are you gonna teach feeling to someone? Feeling, right? So feeling is like it's hard to teach feeling when you come from rudder canoe, like OC, specifically OC, or specifically OC, it's difficult to teach feeling because you never had the feeling. You never need you never had the necessity to have the feeling, you know. You always, your feet is controlling how the water, the canoe turns a little bit. You don't even know why the canoe moved that way. Sometimes you think, oh, I just hit the pedal and the canoe move. No, it was a wave that hit the canoe or a wind, and you don't have that feeling, that understanding, right? So the V1, like I usually, when I try to teach feeling something like this, I go like a flat water, like usually I have a good place like you have over there, that is the basin where the MRC, that usually has like the water is not rough, flat water. And I start the little strokes, the basic ones, right? To turn the canoe, because you always learning with the V1. Like Iloha came here in the beginning of the year, and she did the clinic that I learned a lot of stuff. They say, oh my God, that makes so completely sense, you know. And the little details, they're like, I love to go to clinics when it's a woman that is teaching, because they have to teach the little details. You don't talk about power, because sometimes you overcome the canoe or the reaction with power, right? But it's not power. Power is not going to work all the time when you have rough water. Then you're going to need extremely power, and what you're going to do? You're going to die if the canoe doesn't respond. You're gonna heart rate is gonna go to hell, right? So I usually try to teach the basics, and when the guy's doing the basic, I'll say, okay, now the first thing that people do, they start paddling and they look into the blade and they start doing that like this, right? OC1 is not, because you're doing that, you have the paddles, you just go up and you fix with the paddles. So, but they looking to see the blade. Say, well, look, man, the only way to learn feeling is you're never gonna look to the blade, just gonna find a point over there and like look to that point and don't look to anything else. You're gonna go to that point just with your peripheral vision. Just you're gonna learn, do whatever you want to do, the mechanics of your body when they're comfortable, right, with the stroke. No, I'm not gonna do this in the first class, but like when they learn what type of stroke is gonna turn right or left. Okay, now you're good. Okay, now let's talk about feeling. Okay, you're gonna do everything that you do without looking to the water, without looking to your blade. Don't even pay attention how you're gonna do it. Let the mechanic of your body does that automatically. You know, just look to the one point, and if you feel with your peripheral vision that the canoe is going to the other way, do something to fix. And if it's wrong, do something else to fix what is wrong. That's the only way to teach feeling. You know, in my vision, you cannot be looking at the canoe, looking to the water. You have to feel the canoe. You have to get that feeling. The canoe is turning. Hey, my body is going over there. Oh, let me do something here, you know? And honestly, the V1, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I'm talking by V1 because I'm not a stand-up paddleboard guy, but I'm pretty sure that is probably the same. But in sitting down watercraft is the only boat that is going to teach you that the feeling, you know, is the only one that is going to teach you. About Ari here, yes, Ari is doing a big hole in the growing of the sport, not only in Florida, but in the whole US, right? They are supporting so many people. We cannot hide that. Like they are doing a big investment in supporting people and bringing material here for us, right? Ari, for people who doesn't know, Ari, who owns Ari, is a guy in French Polynesia in Tahiti. His name is Baptiste Gauchin. This guy was a windsurfer, was one big guy on windsurfing, big name in the, I think, 90s and beginning early 2000. And he fell from the Teahupu wave surfing and got paraplegic, you know, got an accident, got paraplegic. Yes. So, and then after that, he jumped in the canoe business. I think he bought Ari from another guy in Tahiti, and then started like growing. Because all those brands in Tahiti, you have four big names of canoe. You have others, but like the four main ones would be Timi, Fai, Tehuritawa, and Ari, right? What did Baptiste? He created increased the factory, the size of the factory. So now, until now, because now I think Fai joined like Ozone, but until then, he was the only one with the size to produce a large amount of canoes, right? And this guy on the West Coast, his name is Joey Alvarez. He bought a container with canoes back in the days because he wants to get a V1. He wants to get a V1, and he got connected with Baptiste, and he basically is the main distributor of Ari in US. So he created another company called Ari Outrigger World. That's his company. But Ari Tahiti, the name of the canoes that owns the Ari, they don't own teams, they produce teams. They got the license to produce teams in large scale. And the Ari Matahinas, the 6 men. This guy, his name is Baptiste Cochin, and Joe represents him here. So Joe is bringing a lot of material. And I met Joey 3 years ago when I bought my V1. I bought a V1 with him. And last year I went to race the Baja California series, and I stayed there in his place. And we exchanged, like, I like to talk, bro. If you let me talk, I like to talk. And talking, have some wine with him, and like say, man, start with some ideas to grow the sport. I say, man, why the sport's not growing? We need to do live streaming. I saw what happened to jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu was always big, but when they start streaming, you more people are viewing. You're gonna bring more sponsors. You're gonna sell more canoes. The races are gonna have more people race. It's good for the sport in general, you know. And he asked me, "Hey, do you wanna represent my canoes on the East Coast?" I said, "Man, I can help you over there." So basically, I help him. I try to. I'm not in the business, on the canoe business. You know, I have my company here. We do PR. My wife and me. It's not my business. I just do for love. So I help him showing his canoes here. He has a lot of canoes on the MRC that I take care. I have the key from his storage. But I'm trying more in general, be an ambassador for the Polynesian culture, right? To not only canoes, but like outfits. They use different outfits over there. You know, like you probably saw in many of race those colorful things that I use. Even food. Like I'm trying next year for the race, we're gonna try to do a festival here for the Polynesian culture. And everyone, like Ari, for an example, that is with the canoes that are spreading. It's a Polynesian canoe. I try to help in any form, you know, try to help the sport like you're doing with your podcast, with your teaching, everything that you're doing. The same way with Ari or any other brand that needs help. But yeah, definitely you cannot tell me that they are not like giving a bump on the sport, the growing, especially the V1 in US in general, because when I went to race the Baja California series, the first year was last year. Yes, last year. I went for the 3 events, and he provided he wasn't a sponsor, but he was giving like canoes for everyone to race. You know, that's another thing like of our sport here that I'm trying to work on that and see how we're gonna be doing. Especially if the intention is to be bringing athletes from other countries, right? Like if you can bring, I have a lot of people from Brazil that already basically sign up for next year. Say, man, I want to be there next year. I want to be there. People from California, people from Tahiti, they want to come here. This race that I did was supposed to have honestly, I was counting like 20 Tahitians to come here. But what happened is last year, our friend Kevin Coider, that is Stevie Boy brother, passed in a race. And his birthday was the same day of my race. So they put an event in Bora Bora to honor his name. Stevie Boy put it, and they couldn't come. But if you're going to be bringing these people, you need a material for them to paddle, right? Every guy that comes here, I need to find a canoe for them to paddle, if it's a V1 or OC1 or whatever. And Ari is helping a lot with that. You can deny, like, they're helping a lot. This, even my race here would be like possible to have a lot of the Tahitians paddling here if I didn't have material, right? I have like a V1, I have like Ari V1s, I have Timmy V1s. For next year, I even talked to Jim Ross, for like I'm gonna be bringing 5 paddlers. Like this year, we had like a Kyle. There's a 5 paddler, so I need 5 years. If Stevie Boy comes, I need a Tehuri Tower. I already told him, like, in the beginning of the year, we need to bring a Tehuri Tower for you to paddle, because those athletes, they like paddle only one brand, right? They're like kind of professional, right? So they represent one brand. So they cannot come here and paddle like put a Stevie Boy in a Phi or in a Timmy or in a Ari, right? So you need this, you need the material, so that's part of we should be doing this as a community, like if like sponsors or like big names of companies who own like canoe brands to support. We should be working, we should sit down to talk how are we going to do that, how are we going to work, because it's good for everyone. You're going to have like paddlers racing your canoe, is going to be showing your canoe over there. Is a big demonstration. What bigger demonstration than putting like a LeBron James using a Nike shoes, right? Or something like that. So yeah, they're helping a lot, and that's my role here, like just like an ambassador for the Polynesian culture, and I support all the help that Ari is giving with that.
Yeah, I would agree. The one of the interesting things about boats that don't have rudders is there's a steering mechanic, right? There is a managing your energy, managing the craft. So when we look at sports that have rudders, it becomes a test of just purely endurance and strength, and the technique is only your movement, right? As opposed to va'a, right? You have that as well as commanding the craft. And so they have like traditional canoes in the U.S. that are designed for rivers that have the same mechanic, right? Where steering the vessel gets you further than good movement, right? And then when you put both those together, then you have like, pro athlete. So, great example, steering and commanding the craft is a big part of that. One of my apprehensions with spending the time and getting good at a V1 is 2 years ago, there's no outlet for it, right? If you race V1, you race OCs, and the OCs, unless you dedicate a large portion of your time exclusively to the V1, the OC will just be faster. So with your role in getting the V1s here in the last year and a half, we have conversations about V1 being a category at many major races. And 2 years ago, that was not even a conversation. Like, people were like, oh, yeah, V1. Like you said, there's not enough of them. There's not enough people that want to do them. There's no way to get them here. So there's no reason to put in 1,000 hours for a skill that you don't have the opportunity to showcase, right? And that role in evolving the sport so quickly, right, has been tremendous. So, speaking of the live streaming, the V1s, bringing it all together, tell us about the Black Belt Challenge.
Well, the Black Belt Challenge, we had a big loss in this event that I felt really sad, because honestly, I didn't check the date and end up being the same day that you put your race. And I didn't even check that it was the Carolina Cup the same day. What happened is, and I felt like really bad. I even told people here, you're going to hear from someone that I was talking here, say, man, I wish you would be there, because you were part of this growing community here in Florida, and you're doing a lot. And I want people like that here, like putting the sport up. And I'm one that I want to support all the races here, because I think it's really important. Like everyone should support races, like, people should know how difficult it is to put a race together. It's a lot of work, and we do this because we love. Like, if people who think about like making money in this sport, like, people are crazy, like people are crazy, I'm gonna be rich. No, you're crazy. You're crazy. This doesn't happen. Not now. Not now. Definitely not now. But so my respect from all the race organizers, like, because as an athlete, right? As an athlete, you always want to do the fun part of the race. Oh, I want to go to the ocean. I want to go surf this. I want to do this because I'm badass. I'm doing this. But it's a lot. It's a lot of liability. It's a lot of planning. You have to make everyone happy. No, not even Jesus made everyone happy. You're not going to be Andres Souza or Robert that's going to do, right? So, but you have to be professional in that. You cannot play. It's like people in the water. It's a water sport. A lot of things can go wrong, right? And the event was a success. The idea of this race, I'm very transparent with things. Like we say, in Tahiti, we say the term shalala. We don't like too much shalala. Like when you talk, just, yeah. So I love that term, like, it's too much shalala. No, when you talk, and don't do it. If I say that I'm going to do something, I do. And the idea is, I always wanted to do a race here. I still have a dream race that I don't know if it's going to happen. That would be like a crossing from Bahamas to here, like our Molokai, like it's a lot of logistics for that, but maybe for the future, we need more 6 men here and a lot of logistics for something like that. But yes, I always had an idea to do a race, but wasn't so passionate until our first trip to Tahiti, me and my wife. So we went there and we spent like a good 2-3 weeks over there, and we did the Aito. I did the live streaming of the Aito, and I was able to leave that intense culture, like we did the live streaming from, I think, 2 races. Was the Aito and the Vodafone race, the 6-man, the Vodafone crossing. And I got in touch before I go, because of the live streaming, and this guy that he doesn't own Aito, but he was put as an organizer for that year specifically, because I think the organization of the Aito was having like some hard times with athletes, and the chef, the leader of the race, that he put himself backwards and put this guy to manage, right? His name is like a Reinaldo Tamari. He's a former FIFA agent. The guy was a soccer player, famous soccer player from Tahiti. He was Minister of Sport of French Polynesia. So this guy called me and we did a FaceTime and say, hey, we start talking, and he liked my ideas. Hey, man, I want you to be part of the Aito event with me here and represent the Aito, especially in Brazil, because, I'm Brazilian, know a lot of people over there. And he said, the Brazilian community is huge and this and that. In Miami, we're going to do a world tour of the Aito, right? In Japan and France and Brazil. And he wants to race here in Miami. I said, okay, let's talk about, that's a nice idea, cool idea. So I went there and I covered the Aito. Man, that guy received Mike so good. He got out of his house. He gave him his house. He went to stay with his son or whatever family. He gave me this amazing house, beautiful house for me, my wife, and my kids. We stayed there. The guy gave me like the live streaming of the Aito, something insane, just happened in those countries, like that is more relaxed. The guy gave me the TNTV, that basically he went to NBC or CBS or any big channel. He said, hey, can you give me the clean feed for Robert Norman podcast? He's going to live streaming over there, the Super Bowl or something like this. You have to give him, the race is mine. You're going to give to him, okay? The guys of the TNTV was like looking at me like, who's this dude? Kind of pissed off. But I did that. So we started having conversations. This race originally was supposed to be Aito Miami, right? And it was going to be only a V1 race. They were supposed to be called the Aito Miami. So when I came back, we started this project, me and Monica, my wife, because we do events, right? We have a PR company. It's her company, and I do the audio vision production of the company. But we do PR, but we do more for government entities, like the Florida Department of Transportation, like public relations for them, right? But we do events also. We do big events. So we start. Monica said, no, we're going to do this race. We have to apply for the permits, everything. But it has to be everything like big, right? You cannot do a race because it has multiple ways to do a race, right? We can put a race like as friends, like, hey, our team, let's put a race in the basin over there. Let's go there, get together, and it's okay. It's cool. But if you're gonna be, the whole point was to be like a world tour, so it's something that has a lot of liability, and it has to happen, right? Cannot like I'm bringing people from outside. People are going to spend money in flying tickets, so I need safety. I need to make sure that the permit has a permit for the race to happen. Especially in Miami, it's very complicated here, like for being so touristy.
Mm-hmm.
So we start that project, and to put the race where I want to do it, uh, it's a lot of money over there. But I liked the idea also. We talk about when we were there in Tahiti, because this guy, he doesn't come from paddling. He's a soccer player. He is a guy who does, when he put this guy to manage and do an event, he does. And he doesn't care about who is paddling, who is Robert Norman, who is Andrea, who is Stevie, who is whatever. He want to do the event in another level. So we talk about the idea, how we do this, how we can do, and we came with this plan of, okay, let's do a race more entertaining for people who's going to watch, right? If you want to grow the sport, you cannot do just like nowadays what we have races like I have to tell my wife, or you come and you're going to stay with the kids at the beach and figure out what you're going to do, because I'm going to be in the water for 2 hours, or you stay home and I'm going to fly by myself. What is not cool, even especially when you have families, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find a way. My whole idea is like find a way to entertain people who is there. Make fun for people, make the race nice, not just start. You see everyone starting, and then 2 hours after you see someone finishing coming. What is cool? It's nice. But the whole idea of this race was to be like show the location of Miami that is beautiful. Everyone pays to come here, right? But also entertain people, do like a circuit, like a lap in a Formula One style, something like that. I like he came with this term. Oh, that's Formula One. That's like and he did the Aito last year like that. We talk about and he did like that. Especially, I wasn't there for the first leg because the Aito last year was 2 weekends. First weekend was in Morea, and second weekend was in Tahiti. But the second weekend, that was the main one, he did like a kind of a circuit with like, it was amazing. It was nice because you had people at the beach hanging out and doing like those other cultural Tahitian throwing rocks over here, the women competition, and you see kids competing like 6 men while the other guys are doing just a little sprint, music, a lot of Tahitian music festival. So it's entertaining, you go there, you're not just watching the race, it's cool to watch. So that's what idea that came from. And I changed the name of the race like 2 months later when I went there to do the Super Aito. For people who's listening who doesn't know, like the Aito is one of the most, if it's not the most famous V1 race for V1s in the world. And the Aito qualifies you, if you are top 100, you qualify to race the Super Aito. That is like, it would be like the Super Bowl. But that race, you cannot register for that race. It's only the top 100 paddlers of the Aito, or guests from around the world. If you're like if you're not top 100, but you're a good paddler from Brazil, sometimes they invite you, or from Hawaii, you got an invitation to participate of the Super Aito. So I went there for the Super Aito. We were gonna do the live streaming of that race, and I got there like a week earlier. And I remember I have even the message on my phone on WhatsApp. I'm getting out of well, honestly, first, Stevie Boy came here. He went to Brazil. In this meantime, between the Aito and Super 8, he went to Brazil. And when he came back from Brazil, it's, man, you have to fly Tahiti, 8 hours, LA. Then you fly LA, Miami. right? Like 5-6 hours. And then you fly Miami to Brazil, 8 hours. On the way back, he sent me a message. He was in Midtown. He was hey, he come like paratoi, what I'm not going to translate that here, what means in English. And we had a good time here in this layover. We talked. I went there, pick him up. We went to have lunch and spend some time. In this meantime, he was telling me the struggle that he was having with the organization of the Aito, right? Because they did some stuff over there that he didn't like, right? And the paddlers, they're very united over there. It's like what they call taho, right? The unity. It's not only paddlers, but the whole Polynesian culture like has this taho, like this unity. You know, that's why they're so good in six men. You know, they don't need to tell you, hey, you need to do this. No, they do it like you don't even need to tell them. It's a unity. That's how they think, they work. So he was telling me that he was having this drama. He doesn't know how it's going to be the Aito. He was waiting for an answer for the race organizer. So when I got there, I landed and I'm doing that Instagram stuff. I post something, and immediately the person view like was Stevie's brother, like Kevin Cuida, that who passed me. Say, hey, are you here for the Aito or the Save VAR? That was the other race that they won. Mm-hmm. And then, man, I was there to do the Super Aito. Right? I say, hey, I talked to Stevie. I'm meeting with him to later on. And that drama happened for the whole week. The whole week, they were so united and not happy in what they did. The race organization did. They put a race together in 1 week. The sponsors, most of the sponsors that was supporting the Aito, they back it up and went to Seva to support the race. They put an amazing race in the place, in the same place of the original Aito. They did over there. So, and I end up going there to live stream for Steve. I did the commentaries in English, Portuguese for him in a boat. It was really nice. And man, I saw how the people was united, and I saw they're not happy. You know, I don't want to get into that, but I understand, and I understand why they're not happy, and I felt like, man, you guys are right? You guys are doing what you feel right. So later on, I already told them about my race. Hey, of course we're gonna go. We love you. We're gonna go there. Blah blah blah. Some of them they say, hey, why don't you change the name of your race? Because this boycott is happening, and we don't want to boycott your race. You know. So end up being changed for a black belt paddler because they love I created the Vibes channel, right, for live streaming, and during these ideas, let's do a race in Miami. But do you have footage of Miami? I say, yeah, I have plenty of footage. So they went to the Vibes and they couldn't find it. Say, no, it's in my little personal channel. So they went there. And the name of the channel is the Black Belt Paddler because I'm a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu and I'm a paddler, right? Just put that. And they say, oh, that's the name that you should put. That's the name. Why don't you put Five Vibes? Change the live streaming for Black Belt Paddler. I say, no, I already created a company. Five Vibes is still there. Like, no, so put the name of the race of our. So basically, those guys, and Monica was the idea, give the idea of Black Belt Paddler. And then I can't remember if it was, I think it was Tejoto de Bois, one paddler from Tahiti. Oh, your idea is good. So yes, him and Monica decided the name of the race. I say, okay, let's go. And it was amazing, man. They loved the jiu-jitsu culture over there in Tahiti. I almost got in trouble when I went there because I was having it's funny history. Sorry about jumping at that, but this one was a really funny. I was having a lunch with Baptiste because Baptiste was the only one who speaks Tahitian, right, and French. So he went to this race after the Aito because the Aito is one weekend and the other weekend is the Vodafone race, the Vodafone. And the guy who owns Vodafone, he is the son his father is the guy who owns Shell, the Shell Va.
Oh
He's
wow.
one of
Oh
the
wow. Yeah.
the father owns Shell in the French Polynesia. He's the one of the three more like a successful men in French Polynesia, and his son owns Vodafone. Super nice guy. His name is Patrick Monchot. So, hey, Patrick, contact me. He wants you to live stream the Vodafone race. So we went to have a lunch. So for me to explain what I need, right? So I'm there explaining, hey, what do you need? I need to give me the feed and this and that. So I explain everything they need. And during the lunch, they say, oh man, you're gonna love the event. The event is not only the race. We're gonna have like some performance. I even have a MMA fight over there. We're gonna have MMA jiu-jitsu. Baptiste and Joey was in the table listening. Oh, you talk about jiu-jitsu? Oh, Andre is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I say, hey, you're a black belt? I say, yeah, I'm a black belt. Like I do jiu-jitsu for more than 20 years. Yeah. Oh, you black belt. And then he started talking Tahitian with the other guy and got on the phone. Hey, you wanna? I understood. He got in the phone and he started talking. I understood in my mind that he was inviting me to go to see to like a prestigious the event, right? To see the event. So he's on the phone talking to some guy. Hey, you want to go in Tahitian? I say, yeah, that's nice. That's hey, you black belt. You say, yeah, that's you want to go? I say, yes, I want to go. Nice. When I say I want to go, Baptiste started laughing because he was the only one that understand what the guy was saying, right? Other than the other Tahitians that were on the table. And Baptiste started laughing. Oh my God, what you just did? I say, what? You just accept a fight to fight with a Tahitian guy here. You're gonna fight MMA. I say, bro, dude, seriously? Are you crazy? Like I'm 48, bro. Like, no, you're gonna fight with a guy. And but I say, I look to the guy to Patrick. I say, are you? No, you want gonna fight already? Schedule a fight. He's finding a guy for you. I say, seriously? And then I felt bad, right? But at the same time, I come like, I want to do it, right? I go to like a old, but like I say, hey, you want to do it? No, it's gonna be easy. You're black belt. You're gonna smash the guy. I felt like pumped up, right? I say, man, whatever, right? I'm here, right? You know, I'm in the rain. Let's get wet. You know? I told the guy, hey, at least give me someone in my age, right? It's not gonna give me a 20 years old guy. This is not paddling, you know. I can come back with a broken nose, you know. They start joking. Oh no, the hospitals are here are good and this. So I went back. I went back to the house that we were. Like told my wife, open. Then I was hyped up. Like, hey, I have a good news. I'm gonna do the event, the live streaming, and after I'm gonna do an MMA fight. I said, she what? What? I'm sorry for the words, but she looked at me and said, are you an idiot? What's your problem? Like, you have kids here. We're gonna go to Bora Bora. We're gonna go to Morea next week. You're gonna be like a broken nose, like a with your kids. Then I had to call the guy and say, hey man, I'm not gonna do it. I have my kids here. I don't want to get injured, you know. And then I end up just going to the event and having fun, but it was really nice. Yeah, but the idea of the race was gonna be black the Aitu, but we changed to black belt. It was a success. We had like a lot of people coming. I was scared in the beginning, you know. You put a race together, especially in Florida, right? That you put a race months early and no one was registered. They live for the last week to register. The last week, like, so I say, Jesus, Lord. And I was even more scared because 2, 3 weeks ago, I say, okay, that's the amount of paddlers, 20. Okay, I'm good. Okay. And then 1 week before, or 2 weeks before, I went to a race, the race that Ben raced with you over
Yep.
there. Mm-hmm. And that race, on the week before when I was gonna do the registration, didn't have like I had like a 30 guys registered. Mm-hmm. And on the day of the game, the race, I have like 75 watercraft. I said, my God, in the last week that I have this. And then I call my wife and say, Monica, we need to be ready because these races have like a 50 registration in 1 week. And it's not like what's scary is because Monica, we like to do like very organized, like a big event, right? So requires more work. Every person that registers in the last minute, you have to do the bag. And like we did the bag with the number, with food and this, you know, with the shirt. I have a shirt for you here still, your shirt's here. And it requires a lot of logistics and work. I had to find places. I'm bringing those Tahitians, and I put places. I found places for people who did come here and didn't have like money to stay. Say, hey, you want to come and you don't have money? Okay, I got you a place to stay. It's not going to be in the Hilton hotel, but it's going to have a place to crash to stay. So Ben was one. I put Ben, Dave Bittenbinder in the same place with Ben. Like, it was really nice. People end up like having fun. They enjoyed. Some of the Tahitians that came here, they already buying. They send me pictures that they're buying ukulele because I told, hey, we're gonna do a festival in Leslie. They bought instruments, ukulele. Then when I go to Tahiti now, I have to bring those instruments because they already committed to themselves to come here. We have the president of a good team, a big team in Tahiti, that is the Tahitian paddle. That he came here. He wants to participate on the organization, even with a sponsor of the race. He loved what we did here. The coach, he did a prayer for all the athletes. It was really nice. Something that we're not used to, and we're not used to because we don't have access. It's not no one else fight. It's not like one race is better than the other. No, we never had that access. And the race was a success, and the prayer, people like sending me messages until today. Oh man, that prayer was amazing to see. I felt like so good, like going to the water and participating and being in the water over there. The conditions weren't challenging. The worst weather that you can imagine here was the worst. Seriously, worst weather was really, really rough. But at the same time, because it was like that, Robert, I had as I told you, the athlete feeling that I want to do a race around the Key Biscayne, going to the ocean, that they can surf, that the Tahitian can surf and come back, right? But at the same time, the liability, if I do a race, if I did the race like that, it would be a bad show, It would be, so end up being the spots that I choose to do the race. That's why I was so the expensive, and the logistics was hard because we chose a place. My idea was this race has to happen. If it has a bad weather, I cannot cancel the race. As people flying here that bought tickets, it's going to be disappointing. The race has to happen. So we chose the basing where you said the MRC, where you have the Kanalui and the Hui, the Miami rowing, the start point of the race, because at least we have that area that is, the lap is 2.3 miles. The race has to happen. If you have even a hurricane, you can race over there still, So we end up starting over there and going a course in the middle of the bay and coming back. That was really challenging. 1 lap for the short course and 2 laps for the long course. But let me tell you, it was hard. It was hard. A lot of good paddlers, they stopped, and it was a black belt challenge.
That's awesome to hear. The episode, I think 6, Theo up in Chattanooga, he mentioned, because I was telling him, there's a lot of races on the same day and it's kind of a bummer. And he pointed out that it's better to have multiple races on one day and have a selection than have no races, right? Because 20 years ago, when he was in paddling in the US on this side, there's no races, right? Like you race 2 or 3 times a year. And so we're in a time frame where like there's a lot of races going on because there's a lot of interest in the sport, right?
Yes.
So it's never the worst thing that races end up on the same day. And like you said, when you put on a big production, there are a lot of things that you're thinking about, and other races is not high on that list, right? Because you have so many priorities. And it's one of those things, I think as time goes on, all of us in Florida like are going to get better at it. Just because like even 2 or 3 years ago, we haven't had this many races. Like it's great. 7 races on the same day is unprecedented, right? And I think that's something that we're all kind of growing and evolving with, which I think is, awesome. So thank you so much for doing your part, building V1 in Florida, doing the Black Belt Challenge. Is there anything that you want to say to the our listeners today before we turn off the mic?
Yes. But what you said about the races, like I think like us as like organizing races, or even paddlers, right? Our community to grow, it's important for us to support each other, right? And we can work with that. We can create a calendar. The whole challenge is like you're gonna be dealing with egos, like you human beings, right?
Sure.
Human beings in general, right? You're gonna be dealing with egos. People has like a closed mind mentality. No, I don't. And people sometimes people they're just not happy. They don't want you to be happy. That's the truth. But that's okay. That's okay. That's one. I feel really sorry that our race got in the same day, and I'm already. My whole point with this race, bringing people here, the challenge, like for an example, for next year, I cannot do this race. I'm already officially telling you, you're the first one here in your channel. This race was supposed to be last weekend of April, but this race is not. I'm having a conversation. Even I'm waiting for a message from Stevie. This race, if he is putting a race for his brother every year, it's going to be end of April, his birthday. If he's putting every year, this race is going to move earlier. If he's not putting a race for his brother, we can still be there. But the whole idea for the next year is to be between the second and third week of April. And I know that it's gonna collide maybe with the sunset that it just put out, but it's something that I can talk with Michael, and we should understand each other and help each other. I want to go all the races and support, and like I would feel bad like if because honestly, like bringing people over there, you're splitting, right? It's better to have multiple races than none that you can choose. But yes, the whole point is support everyone, because I know how hard it is for you and how hard it is for Michael and how hard it is for Christian or for the guy from Clearwater to put a race. So the minimum that we can do is just go there and register and do his race. Like it's like a support, right? So we can do a calendar and work on that. Like my case is a little bit more difficult because I cannot collide with race outside, right? If you want to be bringing Tahitians here, you cannot collide with race over there, and you cannot collide with Molokai Solo, and you cannot collide with the race Wild Buffalo Relay or whatever. So it's always. So we can play with that calendar here. Say, okay, your race, you're gonna be bringing people over there. So we can do this here and put in this race, and I move my over there. So that's how we should play here, right? And I just want to thank you, bro. Thank you for what you're doing. Really honest. Thank you. Keep doing this. Please keep posting what you're doing. All your videos. I watch all your videos that you do about paddling. I watch all of them, bro. All of them. Since you're putting only on Instagram only before those little videos, like I'm gonna even tell you a secret. Don't get mad. We share an account. Me and Fabio, my friend. We share one of your accounts. We have a lot of your videos, bro. I love your videos. I love. Keep posting. Keep doing. You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. When I did the comparison, a lot of people, you comparing Robert with Danny Chin. Yes, I'm comparing. I'm not saying that he won everything that Danny Chin won, and Danny Chin didn't won a lot of stuff that he won too. I'm not comparing them as an athlete. I'm comparing you as an open mind paddler that you do a lot from the sport. And that's it. Just thank you, man. Thank you for everyone that is listening you and support. Keeping listening, keeping signing up and subscribing to your channel. And thank you for everyone that came to my race. I hope to see everyone here again and having fun. Next year is going to be even bigger. We're going to do a festival, like a 2 days or 2 days and a half. I'm trying to do 2 days and a half, do a little party, a Polynesian party on the Friday, and 1 man and 6 men. But the 6 men, I had an idea and I changed. It was going to be 6 men, 20 miles with changes in the water, and I changed that. It's going to be inside the basin. If I'm able to clear and get the permits to take all the boats off the basin, we're going to do a secret track with 6 men for people to watch at the beach, Over there. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. And thank you, everyone, for enjoying and having the patience to listen to this bald guy here that I know that I talk a lot.
Andre, thank you
Hope
so much for
hope to
coming
see
on
you
the show.
soon in the water.
Yeah, man, I'll see you at the next race. So that concludes the paddle pursuit. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next Monday for the next episode.